how can you say that you love God that you don't see if you cannot love your brother that you see?
Yeah.
Beloved, let us love one another because love comes from God. And if anybody is born of God, will love each other. So the fact that I can be close to you, a friend with you, open with you, is the level that I actually open up with the Lord.
We need to fight for that. And the only person I can control is myself.
Come on.
Like, I can't manage how somebody older is going to act. Like, they may say things that I don't agree with, that I mean, even with my parents, like, there's times where I'm like, okay, like, I'll roll my eyes, but it's like, hey, like, I can't change that, but I can change the response that I have towards that. And I think right now, culturally, like, there has been even that division.
At the end of the day, honestly, that's what is going to measure our Christianity, how much you actually really love. 1 Corinthians 13, if I have the gifts, whatever, of the faith, or I give all of this, but I don't have love, I'm nothing. If I don't do that, it's worthless,
Bienvenidos a Living en Familia, where we talk about real life, faith, and family. Sin filtros, con el corazón.
Hey, welcome to Living en Familia. We're so happy to have you here with us. This has been quite an adventure, this podcast, and I'm learning, I'm being blessed. And having, all of my spiritual children or friends here with me, it's been amazing, for real. Entonces queremos darle las gracias a Anthony por estar aquí en esta ocasión. Anthony es un amigo, es un colaborador, estuvo trabajando en Radio Nueva Vida, increíble. Ha estado trabajando aquí en la iglesia, actualmente está trabajando nuevamente aquí. Él es el former youth pastor, he has his podcast and he's been doing that. Él es el hermano de Stephanie, de Gio, también ya es tío, obviamente, ¿por cuántas veces?
Ya 3 y viene el cuarto.
Viene el cuarto, wow, van rápido ellos. Y también, pues es el hijo de Anthony y tu mami es...
Sí, Jesús Antonio y Beatriz.
Y Beatriz, claro, se me fue el nombre. Ok, pero es una alegría tener a Anthony. La experiencia que hemos tenido caminando juntos, ¿por cuántos años ya?
Y creo que 13.
13 años, ha sido una bendición. Anthony es un hombre increíble, la verdad. Es un hombre constante, fiel, dispuesto, leal, una bendición. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, of course.
And especially the topic today is called Building Relationships That Last, which I think it's a great topic. We are living in a moment where people are, like flipping from one relationship to another. And there's a lot of conflict, a lot of tension or strife, I might say. But then today's topic, I think, is going to be very important. So where do you want to start, Tell us a little bit about the importance. How do you feel about this specific topic, building relationships that last?
Yeah, I mean, I'd start with the fact that I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for relationships, for friendships that I've had. Like, there were times where, I wanted to leave. Or even there's been times where it's like, maybe I should leave California just because of how the state is. But really what's kept me here is community. Like, the community that's here, I know is something you can't just find anywhere. And even speaking with friends who are in other places, in other states, that's one of the things that they are always craving, which is community. It's like, so knowing that what we have here and what's been built here isn't something that just comes out of nowhere.
That
like
you take for granted.
Exactly. Yes. And so I think for me, it's like, that's the one thing that I value a lot of, like, where I'm living, of being here. It's this community that has been built that it didn't happen overnight. It's been after years of work, of trial, of fighting for it. Not just me, but like others around me, like fighting for me, fighting for relationship, fighting for this community. Yeah. And so it's something special that's just been cultivated here over years.
I love it. Yeah. I think that we tend to isolation now, nowadays with all of the social media, and we tend to stay on our own world with our phones or whatever, social media. And then we disconnect a lot.
Yeah.
And then, things happen within relationships, because relationships are so key, but at the same time are not easy, but we need them. Without it, the Bible calls us to, one another. There's so many verses on pray for one another, like carry the loads of one another, all of those things. But I think the importance of community is key. but it's not easy, and it's easy to disconnect. What do you think about that?
Yeah, no, it is really easy to disconnect. I mean, I think about, there was a time, I think in 2018 or 2019, where I was having like a real struggle with a friend here. And I think at any other point in my life, I probably would have just walked away. But the fact that we were working together kind of made it so that we couldn't. And that also made a commitment with the Lord, where I was like, hey, I'm not walking away from this position, even if this is hard.
Yeah.
And I think just that, like, being able to be around each other and like being forced to forgive, apologize, go through that. Years later, this is now one of my best friends here. But that it took that struggle, it took remaining, it took forgiving. And I think that's one of the things that we tend to avoid as a society is forgiveness. Like, it's so easy for us to cancel someone. Oh, they're not, appreciating me, or they don't love me the way I need to be loved, all this. And then we just tend to dispose of people instead of, really fighting for something that will last years, that will last a lifetime.
Yeah, I agree. Oh my gosh, there's so many things that come to my mind. I think about, number one, every relationship, it's hard. Like I was saying, even within good friends, we can have misunderstandings, miscommunication, so many things. And I've seen people, they are smart people, but they don't know how to forgive. There's an incident, could happen with anyone in marriage, in any relationship, and then they tend to be offended. I'm offended, I'm hurting, I don't know, this sense of entitlement that makes me I don't want you anymore. And I was like, no, like you were saying, let's fight for relationships, for friendships, for community, because it's so key. The Lord put the church, he says, I will build my church and the gates of hell will not prevail against the church, which is a community. Yeah. So that's, I think, the importance of that valuing and fighting for community is so key. And the second thing that I was thinking as you were sharing, Jesus described one of the signs of the end times is they're going to hate one another. They're going to betray one another. Yeah. They're going to actually deliver to judge, to trials and all of that. So there is this reality that in the end times, and I think what has caused more of that polarization is social media, no? When we are in one extreme and the other person is in the other extreme, so we hate each other. Yeah. So I think recognizing the reality of what Jesus warned us against, we have to say no, I'm not going to allow to be offended, to isolate or disconnect or cancel someone. I think that's so important.
Yeah, and I think even with that, it's fighting to not try to be right. Because I think that's one of the things that separates us. It's I want my right to be right, my right to my opinion, and we hold to that. And instead of getting closer to someone, it's oh no, they believe something completely opposed to me. Even if we're both Christian, even if we both love Jesus, it's we may have differing opinions, but I think being okay with that, having those conversations is what's actually going to bring us tighter. And also it's asking why, seeking to understand. It's why do you believe this? Or why do you think this? That might help us to grow, and it might not change our opinions, but it might help us to understand, to connect. And I have friends here who there are certain things where we might not agree, but that hasn't separated us. It might have when we were younger, but I think now it's again, we value each other's friendship, and we value the fact that we'll still fight for each other, even if we don't agree in this one area. It's hey, I'm still going to lay my life down for you. And I think that has been so key, knowing that we can be ourselves around each other, that we can have these differing opinions and not be excluded or rejected because of it, has really helped us grow tighter.
I think that's so key, because how can I say, the world is if you belong to that side of the aisle and I'm on the other side, so we're going to fight, we're going to attack. And we say no, okay, we can have a different opinion, different preferences or whatever, but we're still united in Christ. We always say, that what unites us is greater than what divides us. We have one Father, one baptism, one faith, one Holy Spirit, one heaven. Everything is just one. So whatever we may have as a difference, as things that we don't agree with, we still have greater reasons to be united.
Yeah.
But it's not easy. Why do you think so many people are bumping into relationships, even churches? They are just like, I don't know, I don't belong here, and this is not good for me. And why do you think this is happening so much right now?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, it's like I see it, how you said, like in relationships or in communities, I think there's always the honeymoon stage, in a sense, like where you fall in love with something or someone. And
some community. Uh-huh.
Yeah. So it's like even community, it's like you fall in love and you see all the good things and you're there and it's amazing.
Totally.
But eventually there's going to come a point where you start seeing the reality and the imperfections of someone or of a place. Because every church community has it, every person.
Every marriage.
Yeah. It's like we all have our imperfections. And it's when we get past that stage that we can truly love something or someone. And I think that is where a lot of people, like, they break off. It's like, oh, this isn't serving me anymore, so I'm going to move away. Instead of, how can I lay my life down for this community or for this person in this marriage? And I think that is the hurdle that we have to get past. Instead of wanting to say, like, oh, it's like, if it's serving me, I'll stay there. If it's not serving me anymore, then I'm out. And that's why people tend to go from community to community, from church to church, from relationship to relationship, because they find that the other person isn't serving them, but the Lord called us to lay our life down for others, to see ourselves as lesser than. And it's when we serve each other that we end up receiving from that person, but it's like, that's not my goal. My goal is to give of myself. And then from the giving of myself, I open myself to receive in that friendship, in that relationship, in that community.
Yeah, I love what you're saying. It's so powerful. Pay attention, because this guy is super smart. No, I was thinking that, yes, I mean, the honeymoon in every single relationship is part of life. Like, you get to know your girlfriend, your friend, and you say, oh, this is amazing. And then you realize this person is broken. It's, not exactly what you expected. But that's when you actually say, like, okay, that's when we actually learn to love,
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, honestly, that's what is going to measure our Christianity, how much you actually really love. 1 Corinthians 13, if I have the gifts, whatever, of the faith, or I give all of this, but I don't have love, I'm nothing. If I don't do that, it's worthless, So I think learning to love someone that is broken is key for building relationships, and even to be able to receive from them. Because I've seen how I believe that broken people is used by God to heal other broken people.
Yeah.
For real. It's like, there's people that have blessed me, have taught me, have even prophesied over me, that have, struggles, whatever, but the Lord uses them. So if I discard or say, I don't want to talk to that person, I am losing what God can give me through that person. So what if I say, okay, he's broken or she's broken, but I'm going to learn to love them as Jesus loved me. And then I'm going to be able even to receive from this person, because the Lord is going to use that person, to heal me, to prophesy over me, to bring, I don't know, like even the revelation of God's love.
Yeah, I love that. No, I love that. And as you're saying that, I just think the other thing that tends to separate us from community is our past trauma, pain, and now a lack of vulnerability because of that. That's where it's like, I've been hurt before, and I might not even realize that it's like my past pain or hurt that's causing me to avoid. But it's like sometimes when a community or a person triggers that pain point again, I'll want to separate. And I think that's the other part where we need to, like, how you said, it's like we need to fight for that, because we're only going to heal in community. Yes. It's like we're only, like, for me, it's like I had leader pain, like hurt by leaders. And here is where the Lord healed me when it came to leaders, with relationship with you, with other leaders, like seeing the fact that, oh, they're just human, just like me, and they make mistakes, and they have fears just like I do, and anxieties. And seeing that's what healed me.
Yes.
Of that. It wasn't running away and, Lord, just heal me now, and then I'll go. It was like, no, it's like I have to go, and then the Lord starts healing through that connection, through that friendship, through that relationship. And so I had to be vulnerable. Like I couldn't like say like, okay, like until I'm good, then this is going to work. Like I need to jump in even through the fear and trust that the Lord will do what he's going to do, knowing that the other person isn't perfect and they can still hurt me in that process. So I think that's what's scary. And I think that's why social media is so used to cope with it, because it's safer. Yes. You know, it's like there's this like, it's the same reason like why some people, instead of getting into a relationship, they go to porn, you know, because like it only gives you and never asks anything of you. And so it's like there is this asking of vulnerability when it comes to relationship.
Yeah. I love what you're saying. And it comes to mind to me that what this Pastor Diane Abergel used to say. She used to say, you cannot relate to God more, you know, than when you relate to people. When she said it for the first time, I was like, I don't think so. You know, I relate to God really well, but to people not so much, you know, because they are weird or whatever. Yeah. But then I realized, you know, because first John chapter 5, verse 4 and on, it says that, how can you say that you love God that you don't see if you cannot love your brother that you see? Yeah. Beloved, let us love one another, because love comes from God. And if anybody is born of God, will love each other. So the fact that I can be close to you, a friend with you, open with you, is the level that I actually open up with the Lord. So I was like, Lord, this is so important, like, because you're talking about vulnerability, which to me is a key, but it's hard, you know. Yeah. How can I trust someone to bring all of my baggage, all of my junk, and tell, this is me, this is who I am? Yeah. We need that so much. Honestly, like, we need to be able to open up, you know, to have friends where all of your secrets are not secrets. You come to with someone is like, man, this is my struggle. This is what I am thinking. This is what I feel, what I'm afraid of. And when you come to that place, First John chapter 1, verse 7, it says, if we walk in the light as he is in the light, we have fellowship with one another, and the blood of Jesus will cleanse us. So vulnerability is so important, but it's so hard, but we need that. So I was thinking, like, honestly, I'm going to just invite everybody, like, fight for relationships, heal your heart. Don't allow offense and bitterness to settle in your heart, because you're going to miss something amazing, for real, that the Lord has for you in broken people. Broken, all of us are you are broken, I'm broken. So, you know, that's the way it is. And if you say, okay, this church is broken, then I'm going to go, you know, that's the famous saying, you know, like, if you go to the perfect church, you get there, then it's going to be broken because you are there. And for real, like, Lord, we have to mature. We have to stop being childish, and become childlike. Because honestly, like, Lord, this is important. This is key for us with God in our own growth, for serving others. And, you know, I don't know, I just want to keep talking a little bit more, because I fought for friendships for so many years. You know, my pastor in Mexico, I've been friends with them for almost 50 years. It hasn't been easy, you know. But I say, like, no, I'm going to fight for him. I'm going to love him. I'm going to skip the part that I don't like, and I'm going to see the good part, and I'm going to bless him. And honestly, last time when I was in Mexico, I was so, like, grateful. After so many years being there preaching to the church, I was like, Lord, it was worth it, you know, that I was fighting for this. Because my wife told me, like, it was amazing. And I said, yeah, but thank God that we were fighting for this friendship, for this relationship, that I could have said, like, well, they're in Mexico, I'm here, whatever. And I was like, no, I'm going to fight for them. Yeah. I'm not going to put my emphasis on the worst part of this person. I'm going to see the good part. I'm going to remember the good things. What do you think about it?
No, I mean, I agree. Like, I think sometimes, as I said, it's like sometimes we move away from something too quickly. Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying that, you know, it's like there aren't toxic people or toxic
Yeah, right.
even communities.
Yeah,
because
there's a
there
balance there. Yeah.
You know, so it's like, so if you see that, it's like, okay, like leave it. But
Well, you can keep your distance.
Exactly.
Not necessarily, I'm not going to talk to you, but I'm going to have a safe distance with you if you are toxic. I agree with
like
that.
the
100%.
level of trust won't be the same.
Completely.
But the one thing I would say is like, if we see that pattern in our lives, at that point we need to say, okay, it's like, I need to check. It's like, God, I need you to reveal what's in me.
Yes.
It's like, if we've been bouncing from church to church, then I'm the constant, not necessarily these churches.
Exactly.
It's like either
the common denominator is you in everything.
Yeah, it's like, if they're all toxic, maybe they are. But then it's like, then why am I attracted to toxicity?
Come on.
You know, it's like, whether it's relationships or communities. And so, but then again, like that doesn't heal without someone else.
Yes.
Like we need that, like we need community. We need somebody who's going to like speak into that, especially if it's somebody older or who's been there, to speak into it and say like, hey, like you're not, you know, it's like, what's going on here? Like what's happening? And, you know, sometimes it's hard because maybe we didn't have the best parental figures.
Yes.
And so it's like now leaning into somebody who might know better, there's this trust and we're avoiding. But I feel like even in those areas, like that needs to heal. So then we can hear a voice that is wiser than us, who's seen things that we can't see, that we won't see in our current state, in us or around us. And so I think that, I mean, that part is also key.
Yeah, I think so too. You talk about something that is that I've seen a lot, which is the transferring. Let's say you had a bad experience with your dad, your mom, both, whatever. And then you transfer that to a figure of authority or to the older generation, like these people, they don't care, or they abuse you, or they are controlling. And I agree that point that you had actually brought this different times, like our past hurt, if we don't heal, then we're going to transfer that. We're going to stay in that too aware of myself and protecting myself. I'm going to build some walls. I always say that when you build walls, they protect you, but they also isolate you.
Yeah.
So be careful with your walls, honestly, like, because you're saying like, oh, you know, I'm not going to allow people to hurt me. Okay, but then you're going to be isolated.
Yeah, there's a phrase that says like, I'm just protecting my peace. You know, and I've used it. Like, I'm not gonna even, you know, it's like I'm guilty of using that phrase.
But I think, guys, we need to open up and because, you know, going back, because I think one of the points here is also the connection within generations, which is Malachi 4, 5, and 6. You know that when Elijah, the prophet, before the great day of the Lord comes, he's gonna bring reconciliation, restore the relationship he's going to turn the hearts of the fathers to the children and the children to the fathers. Otherwise, he will pour out wrath. So the key of relationship with the generation of our parents, leaders, is so important. And that has been so attacked, you know, like so badly. But I think this is something you have to be aware, like, hey, wait a minute. You cannot be too quick to judge, isolate, like say, I'm done with pastors, I'm done with church, I'm done with... You cannot do that. Yeah. You cannot do that. That's wrong. That's you're in danger if you do that. What do you think about that?
Yeah. No, I mean, I know that there's seasons sometimes for people to like be away, but that's all they are. They're seasons. It's not like you're constant.
I agree.
And if you're like, if it's already been like 2-3 years, like, okay, that season ended a long time ago. At this point, you got comfortable.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's like, if you stay in winter for too long.
I think that stagnation is comfortable, but is damaging, you know? Because, okay, keep going.
Yeah, no, it's like, I mean, like, it's any like fruit seed. Like if they stay in one season too long, the tree will die. Yes. Even if it's spring or if it's, you know, it's like whatever season, it's going to eventually die because it can't sustain that. But I do feel like we need to fight for that. And the only person I can control is myself.
Come on.
Like I can't manage how somebody older is going to act. Like they may say things that I don't agree with, that I mean, even with my parents, like there's times where I'm like, okay, like I'll roll my eyes, but it's like, hey, like I can't change that, but I can change the response that I have towards that. And I think right now culturally, like there has been even that division where it's like there's those statements where it's like, oh, okay, boomer, like whatever, okay,
Yes.
unk. You know, it's like these things that we say
Yeah,
to kind of
totally.
like separate someone from myself. It's like, you know, whatever, like that's just what you believe, but there is no attempt to want to connect or even like bridge that gap.
Yes.
And for somebody listening right now, it's like, I think that would be the challenge of like, hey, you're the one hearing this. So it's like, you're the one now responsible to bridge that gap with someone who the Lord's placed around you to fight for that
Yes.
relationship, fight for that connection. And it might, you know, it's like, it might be a little bit, it might be a couple inches that
Yes.
this grows after this. But in prayer, like the Lord can move in ways
Yes.
that we don't understand. And I've seen it here. Like I've seen it with us. I've seen it with other people where it's like years ago, there was this huge gap. And now I see because of an attempt on both sides
Yes.
to say like, you know what, let me hear.
Yes.
And it's like, oh, let me also apologize for where I've been wrong. You know, where I've maybe were stuck too much into
Yeah.
my own ways instead of saying like, hey, like, I wanna reach out to you. I want to
Yes.
connect with you. I want to hear what you think or what you have to like. Even what you're doing right now here, you're connecting with the younger generations and wanting to say, it's like, okay, what do you think about this or what are you
Yes.
saying about that? And I feel that is something that we need to do regardless of age.
Yeah, I'm thinking about different things. So many things come to my mind, and I think about we need to honor. That's one of the commandments of the 10 Commandments. Honor your father and your mother, so your life will be long. So honor someone of the previous generation. It's God's order, and God is going to use that to bless you, because one of the most powerful things that you receive from the previous generation is blessing
Yeah.
and advice and the wisdom of the elders. So I think that's so key, because I've been listening to people like they despise the older people because they say, I have ChatGPT, I have AI. So then I was just listening recently, this young man saying to his mom, like, actually, I don't want to talk to you anymore. You sound like old fashioned. So I'd rather talk to ChatGPT and we have good conversations. Like for real. It's like, what? I couldn't believe that,
That's because they haven't had a real conversation.
I think
I'd say.
so. Yeah, for real. So I was like, Lord, we do need, throughout the Bible, since Abraham and Isaac and Jacob and all of them, they impart the blessing over, and the word of the older generation over the next generation was key for the destiny.
Yeah.
The destiny of Isaac was determined by the blessing of Abraham, and the blessing of Jacob was determined by Isaac, and the blessing of the 12 tribes was determined by Jacob's blessing.
Yeah.
But Jacob was broken, but I think that the importance of understanding, okay, this person that maybe has a lot of mistakes, whatever, but the Lord has used that person for me to be born, and this is my mom, my dad, my authority, so I'm going to bless them and honor them, not necessarily like you were saying, taking abuse, or I'm not saying that. But in the same sense, I want to honor that and receive what the Lord has for me through that connection with the, previous generation.
Yeah. And I think, right now it's like the younger generation, one of the things that they're craving is authenticity.
Totally. Yeah.
It's like there has been even this like wave of people moving away from social media because they're seeking something that's authentic,
it's happening?
something that's real. Because like they realize like, hey, like this isn't, it's like, this isn't real. It's not real life. Like it's highlights, there's just a lot of like, just like we're overstimulated from how much entertainment and information we're getting. And so there has been this like wave of people who are like saying, you know what, let's push it away. But it's like at that point, there's also a lack of understanding of what is real, what is authentic. And so I think there it's going to somebody who's older, who has lived in those times where somebody who, if you're in your early 20s, you might not understand that because you've lived with the internet your entire life.
Yes.
Somebody even in their 30s has a bit of that understanding when we were kids, using things that were analog, being disconnected from the internet.
Yes.
For those, even things that are virtual, like video games, we understood before the internet, they were connected to the internet and what that meant to like play something and then talk to a friend about it the next day at school.
Yes.
Like, it's not like today where you're playing, you're talking, you're doing this.
Exactly.
Or at the same time, you're on TikTok, even like shopping or whatever. And so I think that there's that desire to connect with real people, but the way also to fully understand that is to go to the older generation and vice versa.
Yes.
The older generation not being afraid of the technology that's there
Exactly.
and saying like, okay, like how can we use this in a way that's healthy? So then it's like we can pass that knowledge on to the next generation. So there has to be that like bridge that is like
I love
crossed.
the wisdom, the insight, I don't know, that you guys, the millennials and the Gen Zs, they bring to my life. I always ask, my daughters and you guys like, hey, what do you think about that? Like there's so much that you guys have as a generation that I think, and I believe so, that we have to acknowledge, value, instead of like, oh, they're younger people, they're crazy, they are lost in whatever. It's like, no, they are a blessing. The Lord has granted them, and they live in a world that is harder than the world we grew up. Our lives were much less complicated. We don't have all of these things as we were growing up, and I'm so grateful, honestly. Like, thank you that I didn't have a cell phone when I was a teenager. I don't know what could have in my foolishness and in maturity could have done with with TikTok in my ears. Like, thank God, because what you do, it will stay forever there. Yeah. So that's horrible. Yeah. I don't want that. So, okay, let's talk about, I think briefly about like disappointments. What has been hard for you? What has not been able to actually reconcile? I mean, just to be real, with people like it. Okay, we're talking about what is the goal and but what if it's not working? What if it's being hard? What if, what can we do with that?
Yeah. Well, I'll share two. One that it has been kind of reconciled, but another one that I'm still in that struggle or that fight.
Please,
the first one is, I remember when I turned 30, my friends try to like throw this like special like celebration for me. And I was honest with them. I didn't enjoy it. But
Why?
I also
what was it weird?
It was just like I realized there, I'm like, they don't know me. Like I thought, but then it's like I also realized I haven't allowed myself to be known.
Yeah.
And so there was this conflict in me where it's like, in a sense, like I could be disappointed, but I realized like I couldn't be mad at them because I hadn't allowed that. And I think over the past 5 years, that's been the journey for me to like allow more vulnerability, to allow myself to be known, and even to allow myself to be myself. Like in the past 5 years, there's been things that I thought the Lord just didn't like about me, that as I've opened up with him, he's like, Anthony, like I was okay with that. That was just trauma that you thought, it's like, because so-and-so back when you were a child didn't like that. Yeah. You've carried that for the past 30 years, for the past 20 years, thinking that that's how I viewed you. And so it's like allowing those spaces has really, like things that maybe for somebody else might have been embarrassing, or for a younger self, myself, like that would have been embarrassing. Now it's like, you know what? That I enjoy this. It's like, that's okay. Like
you look more free. You look more yourself. I'm so happy because I've known you for so many years. So thank God. I mean, that's, and I see you more like at peace. I don't know. See you enjoying life even more.
And I think that's been a lot of, it's also like just saying no, like learning how to say no has really helped. And knowing that a no isn't a rejection, but a no is, hey, this is who I am. I don't enjoy this. I do enjoy that. And allowing, because I think sometimes we say yes to things thinking that we're going to get rejected.
Yes. I have that.
Yeah. And so it's like,
life.
I think it's like saying no and knowing it's like, hey, if they truly love me, they're not going to run away.
Come on.
And vice versa. If somebody says no to me, it's not a rejection. It's the same thing. It's like, I respect that no as well. So I think that has been that healing process for that. The area where I'm still struggling is, hey, I desired to get married one day. And that has been something that hasn't happened for various reasons. And that is still an area that, like, I desire. I've put it at peace with the Lord, but I'm also like, hey, God, like, this is an area that, it's like, there is a pain point right there. But I also know it's like, I'm not going to hold that against you. I'm not even going to give way to that. Like there's been moments where it's like the promises were made, but I realize, oh my God, if this isn't you, I don't want it. Like, I don't want to run into this if you are not in it. And like say, because I've seen how some friends ended up getting married, but are now in like either not the greatest of marriages, they're struggling, not that they're not fighting, like still they're fighting for it, but I'm like, that could have been remedied if you'd done things right, or they're divorced. Yeah. And I'm like, people my age who it's like they're on their second marriage.
Oh
I'm
my
like,
gosh.
wow, it's like the Lord saved me from that.
That's awesome.
You know, it's like where I might have rushed into it in my 20s and now I'd probably be divorced. And it's like I might have been single this whole time, but it's like at least I don't have that, and the Lord's protected me and guarded me from that. But I also know that it's like there's things that the Lord has been working in me because I've asked for certain things in marriage that I wasn't ready to carry in my 20s. And so is it still a pain point? Yes. Is it still like, are there still questions and is there still advice? Yes. But I'm also at peace with saying, you know what, God, it's like, I'm actually growing to be happy with the life that you've given me. Are there things that I'm not like fully satisfied with? Of course. But it's like, I'm content with the Lord at this point. And I think that's something that I've reached that I didn't have in my 20s, this contentment with him and with what he's doing. And I know that now I can bring that into a marriage when the Lord allows that and blesses me with that.
You know, I think one of the problems with that is that the church has not been good in teaching the value or even modeling the value of singleness, because we talk about marriage a lot, about couples, about, you know, so many things connected to marriage, which is great. But there's also in the Bible the side of singleness, how you can serve the Lord as a single, and then like enjoying, you know, Paul in 1 Corinthians chapter 7 talks about if you're single, you're free to serve the Lord. Like there's no, you have to please your spouse and all of that. So I think we have to teach more of that. We have to value the single as they serve the Lord. And personally, you know, I've seen as a pastor, you know, I mean, speaking about my own experience with things, like relationships that have been good, or community that I have been able to build, and sometimes hasn't been able. So it has happened to me, you know, that there's people, let's say when I go to Mexico, I have people that I know for the last 47, 48 years, and we're still good friends, you know, like connected, love each other. And I've seen other people that hasn't happened like that. It's been hard, you know. Even personally, I think that I am too melancholic. I don't know. Like I attach to people a lot. So when things don't work, I feel sad. It affects me a lot. Yeah. You know, I value people, like I was saying, friendships, but it's hard for me when it doesn't work. And it's maybe part of my codependency. I don't know. There's so many things, you know, that I love them, but it's been hard. Like I've struggled when things don't work. When I wish, you know, things could have finished different, but they're not like that. And it will never be like that, you know, because it's not happening after years. So I don't know. It's painful. I just want to share with people, like, you know, it's painful. I know if you're in a moment in your life where you were trying, you know, you were pursuing this relationship or trying to make things work and it didn't work. It's hard, you know. It's not easy, man. Like, I don't know. I wish, like I was saying, things could be different, but they're not, because, you know, a relationship has two sides. You know, one side and the other has to say yes. But if one of the sides says no, it's a no. Yeah. You know, you have to like live with that broken relationship. But I love what the Bible says, you know, as long as it is for you, do your best to, you know, keep good relationships. Like, dice, en cuanto esté de ustedes, estar en paz con todos los hombres. Entonces, I want to be like that. Like, I'm going to do my effort. I know that my effort is not perfect and it's not enough many times, but I try to say I'm going to do my part to be always open to, even if you, after so many years, I meet you at the mall and I see you, I'm going to give you a hug and I'm going to kiss you with my heart. Like, you know, I'm going to love you. I'm not going to keep any grudge, like, yeah, but you did that to me. Like, no. And I think people have to check their hearts. Like, do I keep any grudges or anything? Because sometimes we don't realize that we hold, you know, resentment against people. And that keeps me, you know, like too cautious, you know, suspicious of things. Yeah. What do you think about that?
Yeah, no, I agree. But I also think like the opposite, in the sense that like sometimes for me, the difficulty has been forgiving myself when I've made the mistake. Like for me, it's like when I've made the mistake, I think that's when I avoid people sometimes.
Like I messed up. Like,
yeah. And then it's like, they're not going to like me, or they're not going to, it's like, so, and like,
oh, wow.
honestly, it's like I'm making it worse.
Yeah.
Because then they think like I hate them, and that's why it's like, which obviously is not the case, but I'm going through my own struggle. But I think for me, it's like, that's one of the things that I've had to fight for. But even going back to what you were talking about, I remember there was a friendship where I told this person, I'm like, I can't be your friend right now.
You said that.
Just because of like the pain that they were causing. Like they weren't in the right space. And it's like, there's more pain here than there is. And for right now, I can't. But the Lord reconciled that. And like, honestly, this person is now one of my best friends.
Awesome.
So it's like, I know that the Lord can move and ebb and flow. But we have to have those hard conversations, I think, sometimes.
That's a great point.
Where I think sometimes there is that hurt or that pain with someone. And instead of having the hard conversation, we just walk away and the distance is there. But I think like sometimes, especially if we value that relationship, we need to speak up. And it's not always going to work out. Like there's been, friendships or relationships where I wish it had gone deeper or further, kind of how you said, and it just didn't work out. And it was hard. And sometimes in the moment I need to process those feelings, and it may take a while, even for a friendship. Like I've dated, it's like, and again, going back to even the marriage thing, I've dated and it didn't work out. And so then it's like, okay, where do we go back to like friends? It's like, how do we find friendship after that? And I think that has been something that's sometimes been a struggle to maneuver. And we do need the time to like even heal from the disappointment of things that we thought were going to happen. But I've also seen now the fruit of like where the Lord cultivates friendship after these events. And I think that's the beauty of doing it in community.
Yes.
Because you still end up seeing this person, you didn't go too far or anything. And it's like, it's painful at the end, but it's like, there still can be a friendship there. And there still can be the opportunity where you end up going to this person's wedding down the line, and celebrating them and being there for them.
That's awesome.
And I think that's something beautiful, but it's something that, again, just happens. It has to happen in community, and we have to,
Yeah, and you could talk about something that I think is key. I know the time is passing by, but I think it's going well. Like having the hard conversation with a person that you value, and that something is happening that is bothering you. It takes two things: courage and love. Because the Bible says that dice, fieles son las heridas del que ama, pero inoportunos los besos del que aborrece.
Yeah.
How you translate that? You're my translator.
Faithful are the wounds of those you love.
Of those who love, but not so good the kisses that a person that doesn't love you. Like
the flattery of someone.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think that we need more of that. Like, okay, you have a relationship with someone in the church, it could be dating, it could be just in the community, and there's something that is bothering you. And I think sometimes, I don't know if it's just part of the Hispanic culture or something like that, that we just like, I'm freaked out, but I'm not going to say anything because I don't want to cause more trouble. So then I just pretend things are okay, but I'm not okay with that. And then I end up like, kind of like acting weird, and I don't know. But how about, being sincere and say, you know what? This thing is freaking me out. I mean, for real, like this thing, I don't like what you do with this. It takes love and courage. Like, I'm going to love you enough to tell you.
Yeah.
Because it's easy not to tell people and even tell someone else, like this person did that to me. And I think those things are destroying our communities and our relationships. And I will say, like, I want to encourage you. I mean, I've been talking to myself, like I'm speaking to the choir, like they say. Like, I have to be brave and loving to say, this thing that you're doing, I don't feel comfortable. It's hurting me. It's bothering me. And that thing could lead in two directions. That the people that will respond like, no, I thought, whatever. Or a person will say like, oh, thank you. I didn't know. I'm sorry. Like, and then that brings you closer. But if you don't have that honesty, vulnerability, or courage, I think you're going to have superficial relationships that are not going to last, that are not going to be like, are not going to build you up. What do you think about that?
Yeah, no, I was going to ask you, how would you handle How have you handled those situations?
When I speak and then they don't respond well?
Yeah, or either one, like when you know you have to have that conversation with someone.
Honestly, and one time Chuck was telling me, like, I know you hate confrontation, and I do. I don't want to. I just love people. I want to just see you and hug you and all of that. So it's hard for me. But I thought about Jesus, like Jesus says, let's say in Revelation, those who I love, I rebuke.
Yeah.
And Jesus is the most amazing person in the world. You see, if you rebuke those who you love, who am I to think that I am better if I don't say anything, because whatever. So it causes me to break my fear of rejection or whatever, or conflict, and say, I'm going to tell you. So when people respond bad, which has happened, I say, well, I did my part. And I try to do it in a good way, like checking my heart that I'm doing it out of love, not out of, I don't know, that I'm angry, that I just want to put it on you, whatever. So I check my heart and I say, if I am doing the right thing, because I always try to pray before I have a conversation like that, and you don't respond well, I cannot fix you, I cannot change you, I cannot force you to love me or do anything. And when I've seen people that they respond even better than I expected. Yeah. Like they say, like, oh my gosh, like, I'm sorry, like, thank you for telling me. And it's like, oh my gosh, I'm so happy that because there are things that bothers me, like this thing I don't like, but I want your friendship. So I got to talk to you. And so, yeah, it's not easy, but it's good. That's what I might say. Yeah.
Come on. I love that.
Yeah.
And I think I'll just repeat a phrase that your son-in-law actually shared with me. He's like, okay, espérate. Exactly. And I feel like going into conversations like this, like, sure, we have our hopes. Like, we hope it's going to go a certain direction, but like, we have to destroy the expectation of how it's going to go, because that's what's going to lead to the disappointment. Because it's true. It's like, what God has meant for you. It's like, if you're in walking with him, like, you're not going to, like, maybe that friendship wasn't working out for you.
Yes.
But that's how you're going to find out. It's like having those honest conversations, not just simply avoiding. And it's like, well, I guess it wasn't for me. It's like, well, you walked away from it before realizing if it was for you or not, because you were afraid or scared or something.
Yeah.
And maybe it's like even relationships, or even, again, a community.
Yes.
Where it's like, especially if you've been there for years and there's been other friendships, like you never had a conversation with somebody. I remember here, there was a moment, this is years ago, maybe 2015, 2016, where I was thinking of like, maybe Houses of Light isn't my church. And then I had my first honest conversation with you
I remember.
for the first time. And after that conversation, I knew it's like, no, this is my place. Because I saw your humanity, because I saw who you were as a human, not just as Pastor Netz, but as human, as a person. I saw that, and that made me want to stick around and stay. But it was me having that conversation, choosing to get vulnerable, to ask questions, to hear you out.
Thank you.
Yeah, but it was like, I think like that's...
I don't know, you were the one that told me, El león no es como lo pintan. I don't know if it was you or someone else.
You told me that one.
Because they told me, like, I thought you were like horrible, and then you ended up like a human being, that you are like, okay. I was like, oh yeah, I didn't know I was perceived as a lion.
No. That one wasn't me. For me, it's like, again, it was like, I'd been hurt by leadership. So I think I was just attributing that to you. And so it's like, again, it's like after hearing your heart behind certain things, that really like alleviated a lot of my concerns. And it's like, hey, like, he's just human and we're figuring stuff out. And that's a part. And that's what I love about Houses and this community, that it's like we allow each other to make mistakes because that's how we learn. Like when we make mistakes, we're learning, we're trying new things, it's like not everything's going to work out. And I think that has to be like, we first have to allow ourselves to get there. I think when we're too hard with other people, it's because we're too hard with ourselves first. And so it's like, I need to allow myself to make mistakes because the Lord is patient with me. Again, going back to 1 Corinthians 13, it's like love is patient is the first description of love. And it's like, which even translates to love is long suffering. And so it's understanding this, like, hey, the Lord is patient with me. That means I need to be patient with myself and with those around me. And I think that is what is what I've seen, the beauty of community here, and what's allowed like me to again fight for people, but allow others to fight for me. I think that's also been one of my struggles, like allowing other people to serve me, to fight for me, because I always want to be the hero or like even have the savior complex when it's like,
or never being too weak or too broken.
Yeah, exactly.
Or I'm like, oh, I don't need anyone, we're like that.
Admitting that I need help, admitting that I am weak, but it's like, again, it's like, blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. It's when I admit that I'm weak and allow the Lord to help me, allow others around me to help me, ask questions. That is when like connection is built. And I think that's another thing. It's like sometimes, again, because of AI, because of Google, we think we don't have to ask people for help, but it's like...
And I think there's also pride, like, I'm fine, I don't need anyone, I'm good. Like, that part of us, which is our pride, it will not allow us to have community, because being in community implies humility, accepting others, accepting your own brokenness, and because pride causes strife and causes division. So we have to, like we've been saying, checking our hearts. So, okay, so building relationship that lasts. What will be your final thought or advice, or you want to talk to them directly, address them in this Living in Familia podcast, please, what will be your, I don't know, like piece of advice to all of our friends there?
I'd say fight for community. Like, I think something that wasn't fought for isn't something that's valuable. Like, what is valuable is worth, like, it's going to take effort. It's going to take time. It's not going to come easy. Like, the initial connection may come, like there's friends that I have here, like Brian and stuff, who it's like the initial connections were easy, but there's been so many moments where it's like I've had the hard conversations where he's told me afterwards, like, man, I was mad at you after that, but I knew you were right. And it's like, if I hadn't risked, potentially ending that friendship through these conversations, like we wouldn't have gotten to the level that we are today. And so I'd say it's like we have to fight for it, be vulnerable, and seek, truth with each other as we love.
And what I want to tell you, like, honestly, I'm so grateful for community. I think that I could not be able to go into this point of my life. Obviously, the Lord is I depend on the Lord. But since day one, what helped me in my teenage years was the community around me, like friends that were there for me in my struggles, in my confusion, in my rebellion, and they didn't give up on me. And so my community there in Mexico, I still, like I was saying, I treasure them. And our community here for 25 years, it's been a blessing. I don't know who said, I think it was Kominsky. He says that we need God with skin, meaning like, like God is spirit, but he manifests through people.
Yeah.
And he will give you a hug or a word that, oh my gosh, it's like this water in the desert. Like, thank you, because I'm here. I'm not in my bedroom or on my own, but I'm here with people that has helped me. Actually on a daily basis, to be honest with you, I'm here with the people of the prayer room in our groups and in our prayer sets. And I'm so happy for them. Like, thank you for your words, sometimes it's not easy, like in the rest, but I'm so grateful for community. Like, Lord, thank you. And we were saying this morning, actually, like, we're gonna be here until the seventh trumpet. We will be here. Like, we won't leave this place. We won't leave this community. We will keep moving forward and fighting for this. So I think that's good advice.
Yeah, I love it.
Anthony, thank you so much for your friendship, your loyalty, your vulnerability, your love. Honestly, I just want to thank God for Anthony. He's a good brother, spiritual son, leader, teacher. He's a servant. So thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for the... I've texted you before. Like, there's been moments where I've just texted you and it's like, thank you for...
I love your text.
Yeah, for everything that you've sacrificed and everything you've put down, because like, honestly, it's like my entire family is saved because, and without you realizing just like everything that you've given. And so I just thank you. And I know that there's other families who are in the same place and position and people that you will probably not meet until we're in heaven.
Yes, totally.
Yeah. So thank even you for even this platform that I know it's like people are going to get blessed by it.
Amen. So. Guys, we'll see you next time in Living en Familia. I know it's going to be amazing. We have the next one is going to be also amazing. So please recommend it to people. Sign up, leave us your comments, like whatever you do to be able to even spread these conversations as we are together. I know it's going to be a blessing. So God bless you. Thanks so much. Thank you, Anthony. Thank you to the team that is behind the cameras, doing all of these things, editing, preparing. Thank you. We love you. See you next time.